Rockin' and rollin'. What is up? Okay, today's gonna be interesting. I am gonna show you my side hustle. And this is for all the people out there that's got a side hustle. They wanna get their thing going on, a little house music a la français. This is my side hustle. Alright. This is a painting. Okay? Wow, 3 years old already. This is my logo. This is gold leaf. Alright? And it's going to be an NFT someday. This is painter's tape. That painter's tape will come off, and the patron, as they say in French, the chef de chantier, the person who funds the NFT project or who partners with me, will have their name emblazoned forever in the world of art history. And so this is done in a tonal style. You know, we're talking Velasquez, Sargent, Zorn. All right, it's done in a tonal style, and it is celebrating the golden age of cinema. All right, and so the first video we played was a reaction to me coming to Paris, right after I sort of made my mark as as close to as a court painter as a Chicagoan can get, and achieved some notoriety and success out there. Came back to this little village, woke as a joke, DEI village, right, a suburb of Chicago, entered a mural contest and got denied not once and not twice, but a leader in the community said, your artwork is too sexy, too gorgeous to ever be placed in this DEI village that just hates white people. And I couldn't believe it, right? So I was shocked, and so I made a video, a number of videos talking about my experience. And from this I developed a campaign, right, where I celebrated the golden age of cinema as a lens and a way to look at American culture. And this whole thing when October 7th happened, and all these ridiculous college kids were like with their signs, no queers for Palestine, right? And trying to box the Jewish culture into this white colonialist male ridiculousness, you know. And so I was like, no way. We ain't doing that. We're not going to take the Jewish culture and pretend that they are the toxic white male colonialist. I don't think so. So my art is a celebration of the Judeo-Christian world, and she became Jewish to marry Henry Miller. And without the Jewish culture in the golden age of cinema, we wouldn't be exporting diversity and all the things that people love about America. This tolerance that you saw very early on was systemic to the Jewish culture. right? The fact that you saw black performers, jazz music, there were gay playwrights, there was cross dressing, very early on. And it's like, oh, Jews, took over Hollywood. No. Puritan Christian money couldn't have created the golden age of Hollywood. Islamic fundamentalist money couldn't have created the golden age of Hollywood. It was the Jewish culture and the fact that their community is so accepting and so diverse that they were there to fill the void and to fill a market and to fill a worldwide desire for this expression of liberty and diversity that we saw on the silver screen early on. And so my artwork is very much rooted in the Judeo-Christian celebration of the Judeo-Christian West, and that is synonymous with Trump and synonymous with this and synonymous with all of the horrors of the right and Trump and right? That's what this represents. Christmas. Women as women. Men as men. No pronouns. None of this woke is a joke garbage that were, men going to work, women raising kids is a beautiful thing. That's what my artwork represents. And in the world of art, right? With Jackson Pollock and the Rothko and his ridiculous squares and Picasso, this is the Antichrist. Look at those lips. This is wood panel, right? Here's my logo. This is supposed to represent the doors of a new golden age, and I was saying that long before Trump ever jumped on the scene. This is all gold leaf, and I'm not going to be selling this. This is going to be an NFT, but ownership will always retain with me and the person who partners with me. All right? What I'm selling is posters, museum quality posters, for a fraction of what this costs. This costs between $8 and $12 a centimeter squared. The poster costs between 50 cents to $1 a centimeter squared. So it's a fraction of the cost. Anyways, so I can't stand the art market. I can't stand the leftist, liberal, retarded garbage that the art market represents. It's all about weeping about global warming. It's all about all this ridiculous crybaby crap, oppression. Here we are, the most luxurious culture that ever existed, sophisticated, luxurious, pampered culture that ever existed in humanity, and everybody can't stop whining. My art is a celebration of beauty, celebration of human beings. No human beings aren't gonna end the freaking world. Bunch of idiots out there. Anyways, so you can see my venom, and you can see how I have no place in the world, the art market the way it is today. So I'm gonna ram my artwork down the throat of humanity. And I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that using OpenClaw, and I think I'm going to be using Blotato. Let's give it up for Sabrina Romanoff and her Blotato. her fabulous, beautiful program, and I'm going to just try to dominate Instagram, Twitter, and everything with beautiful imagery celebrating the Judeo-Christian West, right? That's what we're gonna do. And so today, with that long intro, we are going to check out my man Matthew Berman. Come on, let's give it up. So we're going to actually go through installing OpenClaw. All right, so I'm going to take my side hustle and I'm going to specifically use, and you know, I just sort of gave up on selling my artwork because, like, I can't take credit for this. This is like comes from my grandparents and my parents and comes from nature or God or whatever you want to say. So I don't really. So if you talk crap about my artwork, it's personal. You know, I'm like, really? Where's your art, you loser? You throwing some, you know, are you eating paint and then vomiting on the canvas, right? Let's see your art. Don't talk crap about mine, right? And so with that type of attitude, you're not going to get anywhere in the world of the way the art market is set up in the traditional way. So I'm going to be taking the Bansky route. I'm going to be taking the route of every entrepreneur out there. So if you have a 9-to-5 job and you got a wife who's like, or a husband who's all over you, doesn't want you to succeed, you got people who don't want you to succeed, right? Well, you can use, from what they say, you can use OpenClaw, right, to build your brand, and it can be your assistant. So we're going to try to, in these next couple of live broadcasts, right, if I can ever figure out how to shut up, we're going to try to do what we can do. All right, so let's take a listen to my man Matthew, and let's see what he's got to say. All right, we'll bring down the original soundtrack. So we're talking OpenClaw, and we'll let him do a setup here. It's only 20 minutes long, but it's going to take forever because I, for some reason, can't figure out how to close my gig hole. Here we go, Matthew. Bring it on.
Asana, Slack, everything can be connected together, and you just chat with your personal assistant, with your Claude bot, directly through whatever chat interface that you want to use. I personally...
Okay, 1 second. I'm getting a little bit of an echo on my end. Let me make sure it's not on your end as well. Bring everything up. Okay, let's see how that goes. All right, Matthew, continue.
Choose Telegram. CloudBot learns about you and continuously gets better. It is truly incredible, but a lot of people still don't know how to use it, and that's what I'm going to show you today. By this video, become a CloudBot expert.
All right, we're going to become a CloudBot expert with Matthew.
And there are a number of 24 months. I'll start with 24 months. And right over here where it says have a coupon code, yes we do, Matthew B. Apply. And there you go. You get 10% off. Now continue. And there you go. Payment done. Then it's
okay.
All right. And getting it set up with Hostinger is dead simple. You just come to this page. I'll drop the link down below. And all you have to do is click deploy. All right. And getting it set up with Hostinger is dead simple. All right. And getting it set up with up and running on Hostinger. So the benefits of using a VPS are super simple to set up. It is always on, and it is secure because it is completely isolated from any of your personal devices.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to follow what he says. We're not going to. Some people take a Mac Mini for whatever reason. I don't know why a Mac Mini is a big thing, or they take some computer that they don't need, and they install OpenClaw outside of their computer because it's so powerful, and you can actually download. They even say people will have like a email thing. So you get an email, you open it up, and it's got code in here, just like as text, apparently. And this code will be like, we now have control. Wait, let me see if I can do this. The code will be like, we now have control of your computer. We are now downloading all your keys to your Bitcoin. Something like that. I think that's what they're saying. So we're going to do this virtual private server. That's where we're going. All right. And so if you find this interesting, if you want me to help you set up your VPS and your OpenClaw thing, that's what we're all about here. We're doing the Alex Hormozy, just giving tons of value away for free. And just leave a comment in the comment section and we'll get on with it.
And Hostinger is offering 10% off their already cheap VPS service with one-click ClaudeBot install. All you have to do is use the code MatthewB and go to hostinger.com/MatthewB. I'll drop everything in the description below. All right, and getting it set up with Hostinger is dead simple. You just come to this page. I'll drop the link down below, and all you have to do is click deploy. On this page, you can select your time duration, and this is where you're actually going to purchase the VPS. Right here, you can select 1 month, 12 month, 24 month. I'll start with 24 months. And right over here where it says have a coupon code, yes we do, Matthew B. Apply. And there you go. You get 10% off. Now continue. And there you go. Payment done. Then it's going to bring you to this configuration page. You could put your API key from Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, XAI, anything else, and then click deploy. And then you can connect everything else you need by opening up Terminal and going through the OpenClaw onboarding. And of course, all of this is optional. And here you can see we're good to go in Telegram. I said hello and my ClaudeBot says, hey, what's up? All right, so the first thing to really understand are all the different MD files that you have that really form what this ClaudeBot is for you. And there are a bunch: heartbeat, identity, memory, soul.
Okay, so we're gonna stop right here, and I'm doing this for the geezers in the group. Anybody, anybody not a whippersnapper? Okay, so he says MD file. Automatically, if you don't know what an MD file is, you think of like a doctor, right? But in all an MD file is this. It's a plain text document created using Markdown language, a simple, lightweight markup language designed for easy reading and writing, and it's widely used for the developers. All right, so you can make MD files really easily with any available tool, but that's what he's talking about. All right, an MD file is just a simple text file, just like you do with out of Notepad. All right, so let us continue.
Tools and user. So this is the soul.md file. This is basically defining what the personality of your ClaudeBot is going to be. Feel free to come in here and edit as you see fit. Then we have the skills. This is really what makes ClaudeBot so incredibly capable. This is where you give it all the skills that help it browse the web, check your email, access Twitter, and all of your custom skills as well. So anything that you tell Claudebot to do that it doesn't already know how to do, it's going to create a skill from that and save it here. You can think of a skill as a repeatable process, anything where you have multiple steps and you're using different tools along the way. And so that's defined here. So we have the humanizer skill, for example, and a whole bunch more in here. And these skills reference tools, and tools are pieces of code that allow it to actually accomplish those things that the skills want to do. So here's an example. Here's asanafetch.js, and it's basically a JS file that allows my agent to plug into Asana really easily and grab information from my Asana board. And again, you don't need to write any of this. It's all done through natural language, through Telegram or WhatsApp or wherever you're using your Claudebot. Then we have the identity file.
Okay,
and it's
all right.
very similar to Soul.
Stop.
And a lot.
So let's just make this clear. Okay. So what we're doing with OpenClaw is, number one, we are storing it in a virtual private server, which costs like $6 a month. All right. So we're putting it in the VPS, virtual private server, and it's going to live there. Then it's going to talk to Telegram in Telegram groups or Discord, right? So you can have a Discord server in different categories, and you could have Telegram, you could have WhatsApp, right? Or a combination of the three or whatever. And then you have these MD files that are instructions for what you want OpenClaw to do. Now, what do I want OpenClaw to do? Well, I'm going to be painting live, right? So I'm going to be like, la da da, hello, I'm painting. I won't be using museum glove, but I'm going to be painting a subject matter, and I'm going to be talking. And so as I paint, I'm going to be creating content that I can just blast all over Instagram, TikTok, boom, 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 boom. And then OpenClaw I believe this is what it has the ability to do, is to capture people who are commenting, people who are saying what's up, people who are tuning in. And if anybody's interested in what I'm doing, it can talk to them, sort of warm them up and saying, hey man, you interested in that here thing? So that's the power of what Claude bot is doing. And then when you combine it with a live stream, a live broadcast, you're throwing a dagger in the heart of the trust apocalypse. And that's what we're trying to do here. So let's once again talk to our main man, Matthew, and I'll bring this. So let's see where we are.
A lot of ways. It basically tells Claudebot how it's actually going to interact with you from a tone and emojis perspective. So we see name, Claude, vibe, emoji, avatar. And so that's what's in the identity file. Claudebot now has a memory folder in which it stores all of its memories about you. And you can just let it store everything. You can always go in there and prune things that you don't think it needs to know anymore. But for the most part, there's no harm in just having it store most of what it learns about you. Then we have the heartbeat file, which basically runs every so often. I think by default, it's every 30 minutes, but it's whatever you want want to have happen on a recurring basis. But we also have cron jobs, and I'll get to that in a moment. And again, this entire ClaudeBot project will grow with you. So as you figure out ways that you want it to run, you just tell it and it will start to learn to do that. All right, so those are all the basics. I want to get into a little bit more advanced stuff now. All right, so next I want to talk about model selection, because that's probably one of the biggest open questions that people have right now is, what model should I be using? What should be the primary model? What should be the fallback model? Should I use multiple models? Do I use a local model? And the answer is yes, all of it. And I've set up my model routing to be pretty sophisticated, and I want to show you. And the way I want to show you is by asking my ClaudeBot. So I'm going to say, show me your model selection logic hierarchy. So it's going to read from its own files and show me right now. So the primary model I'm using right now is Claude Sonnet 4.5. And that is because it is a workhorse. It is much cheaper than Opus. And so for the default interaction through chat, that is what I'm using. But I also have a fallback chain. I use Gemini 3 Flash, which is incredibly fast and cheap. I have Opus 4.5 here. I have OpenRouter that I'm using.
Okay, so I'm understanding how you're doing. Are you understanding everything? I'm getting a good handle on it. So OpenClaw has access to all these different models. There's more expensive models, the more fancy you want to get. So if you're can OpenClaw create videos and chop up something that you do, like can it chop up this video and create content? Or is Bluetato going through that? Don't know. And also, he's talking to OpenClaw, and are those conversations being stored in Telegram and Discord, right? So these are all the things that I'm going to answer for you once I install this. And I'm going to use this video as a template for as I install this, which I will do it. Maybe we'll do it live together, or maybe I'll, since I'm so new, I'll do it first and then go through the ups and downs of what I'm doing. Anyway, so let's continue with my man Matthew Berman in the house. Let's give him a hand.
To route to other models that maybe aren't on my initial list. And I was even running local models, but I'm not doing that in this moment. And so you can have local models running for things like cron jobs and other really basic tasks that don't require frontier models. Unless, of course, you can run one of those frontier open source models locally. And there are a few different ways that you can have it select which model it's using. You can simply say in natural language, switch to Sonnet 4.5, hit enter, and it's going to switch to that model for this chat. It will also make a decision about which model it should use at any given time, depending on the task complexity. So we say done back on Sonnet 4.5. You can also...
Okay, so as far as I know, what he's talking about is that that chat that he's talking about is living on either Telegram, or it's living on Discord, or it's living on WhatsApp or Signal, or an outside tool, because that chat can get in. If you don't have different containers for each chat, it just becomes this wall, this chat wall, and this continuous wall of words that, as you grow with your tool, it just becomes unusable because it just turns into this block of nothingness, right? So that's what I'm learning, and this is what I believe he's talking about. The chat that he's talking about lives on either Discord or a Telegram group, all right? Because so it's manageable. Okay, let us continue.
also type /model. And if you ever get disconnected or you run into a rate limit on one of your models, use /model to show or set the different models that you have. So the way I'm doing it is for anything coding, I'm usually using Sonnet, but if it's an especially complex coding task, I tell it to route to Opus 4.5. For most kind of basic interactions, I'm either using Sonnet. Sometimes I'll switch to Haiku because it's even faster and much cheaper. And of course, I'm experimenting with models all the time. And remember, the model you select definitely affects the personality of your Claude bot. Now, if you don't care about that, don't even worry about it. Just use any model that's best for your use case. But if you do care about the actual personality, you're probably going to get familiar with one model, and switching is a little bit jarring. Now, ClaudeBot packages up everything about its personality, all of your memories, and will send it to each of these models individually. But the way that the models themselves handle all of that and respond to you still will be different depending on the model. Okay, now I want to get into skills and tools. This is really what makes ClaudeBot special. This is the thing that sets it apart from any other tool that I've ever used. It just so easily plugs into any service, any product that you're using. I have it plugged into my Gmail, to my Drive, to my calendar, Asana, Slack, HubSpot. A majority of services that I use, I allow ClaudeBot to plug into. Now, I'm fairly technical, so I really have thought about the security implications about connecting all of these different services, and I'm doing so in a secure way. I'm going to talk about security later in the video, so be sure to stick around for that. But to plug it into a new service, it is simple. All you have to do is tell it. That's it. It'll look for skills. If it doesn't already have the skill, it will write one itself. You might have to grab an API key from somewhere, but that's about it. You do it all through chat with natural language. And you can even get very sophisticated with your model selection. So I'm a Cursor user, and I installed Cursor Agent in my Hostinger VPS, and I'm actually able to control my Cursor Agent through ClaudeBot through Telegram.
Okay, so when he says he's a cursor user, right, he's not talking about the cursor you see on the screen, Cursor AI. All right, so he said he's a cursor user. What he's talking about is this: a coding platform. So I downloaded this, and it's definitely a powerful tool to use, right? And so this is what he's talking about. So he has this, all right, installed in his ClaudeBot program, and so he doesn't really get it into in this video his actual workflow with Cursor, but just to make sure we're on the same page, that's what he's talking about. Okay, let's let him continue.
So anytime that I have a complex coding task, I'm telling my ClaudeBot to delegate it out to my Cursor Agent. And it does that, and it's super impressive. Now, the only thing to remember with that is that Cursor Agent has basically no personality. So sometimes when it responds back to you in Telegram that it's done or giving you an update, it basically strips all the personality that you're familiar with. And again, it's a little bit jarring. But feel free to plug in the tools that you're most comfortable with. And I would recommend starting with more low risk tools. Now, if you want to browse new skills or you want to get inspiration for things that your ClaudeBot can do, go to clawhub.com. This is the official ClaudeBot skill repository by the ClaudeBot creator. So up here, click skills, and you can just see a ton of different skills that are available. Now, keep in mind, these are written by other people. There's always a chance there's some malicious code in there. So what I like to do is tell my ClaudeBot, go download this, but first scan it, make sure there's nothing malicious in there.
Okay, this is super important. This tool is just brand spanking new, right? And it can read your emails. It can read all of the stuff while you're sleeping. And so people are out there sending out big spam emails and creating these certain skills that you download, right? And all of a sudden you downloaded it and it's like, I have now control of your life. I know all your Bitcoin and crypto keys. This is what they're saying. Okay, this is the problem that we got to really be careful about with this Claude bot thing, and that's why you have it in a virtual private server and not on your machine, because you don't want it to all of a sudden take over your machine. So security is super duper important, and we're going to be addressing that as we employ this Claude bot tool. All right, let's continue.
And I want to always use the best possible model to do that, because the best possible model is going to be less susceptible to prompt injection. Okay, next, another core mechanic of ClaudBot is it being able to do things for you on a scheduled basis. You can have it be on a recurring basis. You can do a one-off scheduled task, and all of this is going to be done through cron jobs. And if you're not familiar with that term, it basically just means a scheduled thing to do. And you simply just tell it to do so. So in 1 hour, remind me to drink water. I'm going to hit enter, and then it's going to create a cron job for me. And 1 hour from now, it's going to message me back again and tell me to drink water. And these can get as complicated as you want. So for example, one thing that I did was I have kind of a weird trash pickup schedule at my house. It happens every Monday and every other week. It's some rotating recycling. Sometimes it's cans, sometimes it's bottles, sometimes it's paper. And I could never remember what it is. So I actually just told my ClaudBot, here's the schedule. I just took a picture of it from the recycling company's website, uploaded it, and say, look at what the schedule is. And every Sunday, I want you to tell me which cans to take out. And now it does that. It tells me exactly which recycling to put out on Sunday. Okay, now I'm going to show you one of the most powerful unlocks that I have found with ClaudBot, and that is using Telegram groups. Now, previously, what I was doing is just DMing with my ClaudBot directly, and that was fine, but we would just have infinite history of conversation. But if I wanted to have multiple tasks running in parallel, it was very difficult. I would say, okay, hold on to that idea. Let me come back to that. And let me switch back to this other task I had you doing. And it was just so complicated. And then I figured out that you can actually use Telegram groups. And with a Telegram group,
this is the super important point. And from what I'm hearing is that OpenClaw is almost useless within a few months if you don't make this move. So it's absolutely necessary to combine OpenClaw with Telegram groups or a Discord server plus categories, or what I'm going to be doing with my research is I'm going to be doing both. I'm going to be using Telegram to sort of have a public functionality, and then I'm going to be using Discord to have a private functionality. All right? And once again, we are here to completely annoy the art world, and I'm doing all of this to either dominate or crash and burn as far as my side hustle is concerned. And so this is my side hustle, painting, right? It's my logo, that's my signature. This will become an NFT someday, and the Patreon will be up here. This won't ever get sold. This is a master copy for lithographs and museum quality posters that will become available through this master copy. And once again, we are painting portraits of Golden Age movie stars to celebrate the Judeo-Christian culture. All of the diversity and all the things love about America is was exported very early on in the 20th century through the Golden Age of cinema. So it's a celebration of beauty, of black music, of cross-dressing and gay playwrights, and all the things that love about America were highlighted during the golden age of cinema, and that's what my art is all about. It's celebrating the contribution of Jewish executive producers. The golden age of cinema could not have happened with Puritan Christian money or Islamic fundamentalist money. It's a pure celebration of the Judeo-Christian West, which is riddled with it's right. Judeo-Christian West, you're talking about Trump, you're talking about MAGA, you're talking about Maha, and that is the opposite of what the libtard, woketard art world is set up with. It's like the whole 20th century liberal thing is supported by abstract expressionism for whatever reason, right? And this is the art of the white, this is the art of the white colonialist male. Velasquez had a black slave. The greatest painter in the world had a black slave. Right? And so my artwork says, don't care, sorry, it's irrelevant, don't care, a non-issue, while the libtard art world just like loses their mind over talk like that. So my artwork has no place in the traditional art market, so I'm going to use OpenClaw to ram it. Just like a Bansky sort of thing, except just I'm going to be using live television plus the power of AI to promote a old world art that represents colonialism and the white and the white toxic male. All right, come on. All right, so let's get back to our OpenClaw tutorial, which I'm going to install after this live stream, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So let's see what my man Matthew got to say.
You can set up different topics. And so you can have a bunch of different conversations going in parallel with your Claudebot. And that is beneficial in multiple ways. One, you can have a very seamless conversation in each of the topic channels. And that allows you and Claudebot to stay on topic and not get confused about other things going on. That also saves on context window and memory, because instead of loading up the entire conversation history, which might include days, weeks, even years in the future of conversation history, it loads up only what is in that topic, saving you room in the context window. So here's an example. I have one for video research. I have Twitter research. I have an ebook I'm putting together. We have content analysis. We have a Claude skills topic, and so on. And once I find that I'm done with a conversation or a topic, I go ahead and just delete it. And to do this in Telegram specifically, you just set up a new group, you add Claudebot as the only user, you make Claudebot an administrator of that group, and it should just work. And now you...
Okay, do you get what he's saying? He is interfacing Claudebot with Telegram and all these conversations that he's having. And so he's attaching a model right? So there's all kinds of different models that have all kinds of different expert qualities to them, and some are more expensive than others. So he's taking a model, he's having a conversation with it, and that model is storing its conversation into Telegram or to Discord or to WhatsApp or to Signal. This is what I understand. I could be right, I could be wrong, but we are going to live or die together, right? Right here on live TV. We're gonna OpenClaw is gonna eat me alive, or I think it's gonna be boom or bust. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a nightmare. But anyways, you're here at the very beginning, so let's continue.
You also have to tell Claudebot to reply to every message in the group chat, not just ones that is specifically tagged in, because it's thinking it's going to be in a literal group chat with maybe dozens or hundreds of people. So it's only going to respond to messages that it is specifically tagged in. And you don't want that with this setup. You want it to respond to every single message. So just tell it to do that and it'll update its settings. All right, here's another advanced technique that I use. As you're using Claudebot a lot, it is storing so many memories about you. It is creating skills and just basically creating all of this potential clutter. And so what I have it do daily, listen to this, set up a daily review of your main files, including agents.md, memory, anything that you can suggest. Then propose changes here and see if I want to make them. Basically, it is a full audit of its code base every single day. So here it says, okay, I'm going to review agents.md, memory.md, tools, soul, identity, user, heartbeat. And then it's going to look for things like outdated info, conflicting rules, undocumented new workflows, lessons from recent failures, etc. And anytime it finds anything that it thinks, hey, I should actually update that or clean that up, it's going to recommend it to me. And then I'm going to decide if I want to move forward with that or not. I definitely recommend doing this just to keep your Claudebot nice and tidy. And you can also have full multimedia capabilities. So you can have it create
God
video.
Bless it, shut up. From the research that I have been doing, this step is non-negotiable. You have to have a cleanup strategy. You have to be like looking for security leaks, looking for redundancies, looking for garbage that you can clean up, because this thing is like nothing else that we're used to. It's operating behind the scenes while we're asleep. It's working. Okay, and so, you know, it can go off. What's especially when you're first starting out, what's going to stop it from going off the rails, right? And so you can download all these different skills. Well, what if the skill, you know, you don't vet it properly, and the skill is just turning your Clawbot thing into a nightmare? So you have to have checks and balances. You have to be very conscious about, you know, you have all these woke tards, right, washing their garbage, washing and organizing their garbage in anticipation of the apocalypse, right? So we have to be that. We have to be at that level of sort of insanity when it comes to OpenClaw and keeping it clean. Otherwise, it's just going after. It may not catch up with you for weeks or months, but after a certain amount of time, it's just going to make your workflow expensive and unusable, according to the research I'm doing. I could be wrong, but let's continue.
And images and voice, anything that you want. Here's an example. I have it plugged into Nano Banana, and I'm just going to say, create an image with Nano Banana of a lobster. Okay, so I had to go back and forth with it a little bit, but here it is. Picture of a lobster. And again, you can give it voice capabilities with something like 11 Labs. It can read images, just drag and drop in Telegram or whatever chat app you're using. So the capabilities are truly endless. You just need to tell it what you want to do. But now, here's the really important part. Let's talk about security. I have thought a lot about security best practices. I am far from a security expert, so if you have any thoughts about any of these, please drop them in the comments below. So we're going to create a new topic in Telegram, and we're going to call this security. So I will tell it something like never store an API key or token anywhere but a .env file, and never include a .env file in your Git. Now, it should do this automatically, but I like to reinforce that. And so you're going to want all of your API keys, all of your tokens, all in one file, and then you don't want to include it in your Git, because when you push your Git to your GitHub account or you save it somewhere else, you don't want that exposed in the Git history. Now, if a lot of this sounds very technical, don't worry, just type this in and that's all you need to do. Also, OpenClaw ClaudeBot comes with a security checkup feature. So you simply type OpenClaw security audit. So you can do this directly through Telegram, but I'm going to go back to Hostinger's terminal and we're going to do it there. So from the root directory, you're going to type OpenClaw security audit and then hit enter. So here.
Okay, so this makes total sense. Did you hear what he said? He's moving out of Telegram, or it could be Discord, or it could be WhatsApp, or it could be Signal. And he wants the conversation to happen inside the root directory of OpenClaw. All right? And he's talking about, talking about the security of the program itself. This is real important, so we're going to go over it again.
And that's all you need to do. Also, OpenClaw ClaudeBot comes with a security checkup feature. So you simply type OpenClaw security audit. So you can do this directly through Telegram, but I'm going to go back to Hostinger's terminal and we're going to do it there. So from the root directory, you're going to type OpenClaw security audit and then hit enter. So here it ran a security audit and we see two warnings: trusted proxies missing and chmod 700. So go ahead and fix those. And so you can go ahead and fix those by typing OpenClaw security audit -- fix. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, and there, it fixes it automatically for me. Next is just how you're hosting your ClaudeBot. And that is the beauty of Hostinger. You put it on Hostinger and it is completely isolated from the rest of your environment. It is.
Okay, so this is super important again. We are using a virtual private server, all right? Some people are using like a Mac Mini or an external computer, but you never, ever, ever want to put this tool on your main computer, because you don't want it to be like, I now have control of your computer. I own all of your Bitcoin keys. I am now controlled by secret agents from another country. You are under my control. All right? We don't want that. No, sorry. All right, and so let's continue. This is super important. We're talking about security here.
Sitting in its own virtual private server all by itself. It doesn't have access to other things in your keychain on your local computer. It can't just take over your computer and delete a bunch of files. It is all isolated there. And that is super important. The next is I want to explain the concept of clean versus dirty data. Think about anything coming from the internet, anything coming from outside of your completely enclosed system being dirty, meaning somebody, a malicious actor, could be trying to write a prompt injection. Here is an example. If you have your ClaudeBot reading your emails and somebody knows that your ClaudeBot is reading your emails, they can send you an email with a prompt injection in the body of the email. So your ClaudeBot goes to read the email, gets prompt injected, and then reveals sensitive information. And so just keep that in mind. I'm going to say it again. Anytime that your ClaudeBot is exposed to dirty data, it has the potential to be malicious. So be very wary. And there's a few things to do about that. One, again, just be mindful and try to limit exposure to dirty data. Also, the better model you use, the less susceptible it is to prompt injection. So Opus 4.5 is going to be much less susceptible to prompt injection than Haiku would be. Also,
okay, so This is something you need to think about when you're using OpenClaw for your use case. And so what am I doing for my use case? We'll hit it one last time. I'm going to be creating art that the art world doesn't want. I'm going to create art that's sexy and beautiful, and portraits. This is Marilyn Monroe. This is painted in a tonal style, like Zorn, Sergeant Velasquez. But the problem is, these are all white colonialist males, and Velasquez had a slave. That's right, Velasquez had a slave. And my art says, I don't care. All right. That's what my art is about. It's about celebrating the Judeo-Christian West and celebrating the golden age of cinema. We're taking golden age cinema stars and we're bringing these stories onto the canvas, or this is wood panel like the Mona Lisa, and we're going to be creating posters, museum quality posters from these master copies, and these master copies will eventually become NFTs. And there's no way that this is a blue painter's tape. Someday some partner's name is going to be written right here. And this is gold leaf. This is my logo, which predates Trump's supposed to be doors opening to a new golden age. Predates Trump by a lot, right? And the posters will be double-sided, just like the artwork. And there's no way artwork like this is ever going to resonate in the libtard sort of art market that we have today. Oh, we got my man Lalo. We got my man Lalo in the house. What's up, my brother? Let's give Lalo a shout out. What's he got to say? All right. Monsieur Cardenas, he's got something to share. We're going to check out what my man Lalo's got to share later on. Thank you for the comment, my brother. Always good to have you coming by. Rock and roll. And so, right? And so OpenClaw would take this comment and take this contact and take this engagement. And what I believe OpenClaw would be able to do is be like, hey, my brother, what is up? What did you think of the show? So on and so forth. Are you interested in OpenClaw? Are you interested in artwork? What's going on with you? And it would continue a conversation with my man Lalo. And if he was interested in any part of what I'm doing, it would put us together in more of, instead of being just a cold sort of contact, OpenClaw would help warm up the conversation so we could continue it at a later date. All right, Lalo. Thanks, my brother. Thanks for shouting out. And so we're almost at the end here. We'll finish up quickly with this OpenClaw tutorial, and I'm going to install it and get with you tomorrow. We'll see how we can help you include this into your busy life. You've got a 9-to-5 job. You have a passion just like I do. You've got something that that there's no way in the world that your passion is ever going to make it, is ever going to have traction through the normal the barrier to entry is just too huge. It's the same with this, right? Barrier to entry to the libtard, woke-tard art market is just not there. I've experienced it on many levels, and I just refuse to deal with it. I'm gonna ram it down the throat of humanity using OpenClaw and Blotato, baby. Come on. So that is the plan, and I'm glad to have you all here with me. Let us continue with my man Matthew Berman. All right.
Claudebot has prompt injection detection built in, but it's not perfect. It never will be perfect because that is the nature of AI. Another security tip, make sure you are updating frequently. Just a day ago, OpenClaw updated with a bunch of new security features. Next, don't trust skills. Claw Hub has already made a bunch of changes to have better security around skills that people submit, but ultimately that is dirty data. It is somebody submitting a skill, and there were a lot of crypto scams already in the early days. Try not to trust skills for as much as you can. And ultimately, your Claudebot can write any skill that it needs. It doesn't actually have to download a skill from somebody else. So if you can write the skill yourself, if you can have your Claudebot write the skill itself, always do that. And be thoughtful about the integrations that you're adding. If it's something that has highly sensitive data and you really don't want it exposed ever, you want zero chance of that, and it's connected to external services that might be prompt injected, just be very mindful about it. And you can always limit your exposure by limiting the integrations that you're using. But again, the trade-off is capability versus risk. Last, on the security front, for any complex coding task, or really any complex task at all, especially if there are going to be changes to files or changes to different integrations that I have, I always have my Claudebot propose what it's going to do before actually doing it. So it's kind of like plan mode. Think about what you want to do. Think about the best way to do it. Tell me what you're going to do, and I'll let you know if I want you to do that thing or not. All right, so all of this is best practices, how to get the most out of Claudebot, but what am I actually using Claudebot for? And so I wanted to show a few examples of real use cases that I'm doing and how I set them up. So check this out. So one, I frequently have ideas for video topics, and I have an entire pipeline that I use to track video ideas, to research them, and I basically automated the entire thing with Claudebot. And so here's what I do. I drop a link in Telegram, and that link is something I want to talk about, whether it's like an X link about some model release or a website that I wanted to talk about that looks interesting, a video, anything at all. Telegram throws it to Claudebot. Claudebot does research on that topic using the Brave API. It will also check Twitter for trending tweets about that topic using the Grok API. Then it will output an Asana task for me with all of that information so my entire team can see it at all times. And that ends up
Okay, so what he's doing there, I think Blotato by Sabrina Romanoff does that like in steroids. Like he talks about with dirty data. So he's going to have an idea, it's going to go up there, it's going to reach into the blogosphere, get some data, going to download it, and going to, so that's with OpenClaw, which is so ridiculously powerful, it's scary. Blotato is a lot less multifunctional. Its only task is to spit out content. So with Blotato, you just say, hey, I want to, here's a photo or here's a video of me doing painting or whatever, and then Blotato just goes blah, 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 apparently, I think. So what am I going to be using it for? What am I going to be using for is I'm going to be painting live, talking my crap, talking about how much I cannot stand this, the libtard, Jackson Pollock, Picasso, Rothko and his nightmare boring squares of ridiculousness. And I'm just going to completely slam the modern art movement, and that's literally like woke-tard sacrilege. I'm going to be the woke-tard blasphemer using my art. Woke-tard sacrilege. I'm going to be using my art work to talk about how great the Judeo-Christian West is, how awesome realism is, and how I paint like Velázquez and Sargent and all these great tonal painters, Max Meldrum, Percy Leeson, Max Leeson, like this awesome history of the science of appearances, right? This is about the science of appearances. This is about the Judeo-Christian West. This is about the golden age of Hollywood and how diversity and inclusion was exported early in the 20th century not through Christian fundamentalist money, Puritan Christian money, or Islamic fundamentalist money. Diversity, everything that we love about America, was exported through the golden age of cinema, through Jewish executive producers, and so on and so forth. And so my artwork, because it has that foundation, is kryptonite to the modern art libtard. The world is going to die because of car farts ridiculousness. And so we're going to be using OpenClaw and Blotato to blast through that barrier of entry, because my barrier of entry is huge. And we're going to be using live TV, LinkedIn Live as a death nail in the trust apocalypse, because this is me, this is my art. End of story, right? It doesn't get any more real than realistic painting. Let's give it up. And if you go here, right? Well, actually, let's do this just to keep it super real, right? So close all. We're gonna go here, and we're gonna go delete browsing data. All right. For all time. So we're going to delete browsing data. All right. Now we're going to put unofficial king of LinkedIn Live. So as far as this browser is concerned, it's the first time it's ever seen that. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's me. Alright, so I'm all over the place. Look at me. Images, video. It's all moi, the unofficial king of LinkedIn Live. So I'm going to be using my status here, and I'm going to be just ramming my art. Or there's no what are you saying? Right, the unofficial king of LinkedIn Live. That's me, baby. That's me everywhere. Okay. So you gotta love it. Production failure, contact focus strategy. So I've been here before, right? During the world of house music, you had these like just piece of crap labels calling themselves DJ International, and DJs like Farley Jack Master, right? The Jack Master of Funk. They just took on these titles of authority, and you know, you say something enough times, it becomes a reality. So I'm gonna take my official status and I'm going to ram it down the throat and break barriers using OpenClaw, Lotato, LinkedIn Live, and my realistic art. All right. So, if you have a side hustle, if you want to bring OpenClaw into your world, if you want to bring OpenClaw into your business, if you want to bring OpenClaw as an assistant to back up and provide some high octane energy to your sales strategy, to warm up your leads, to talk to your leads, right? Come to me. We'll go through this. This is so brand spanking new. Nobody really knows the exact perfect way, but we'll figure it out. All right? We'll figure it out. The information's out there. So DM me, follow me, contact me at my website, www.liamgaligas.com. All right. I should have the actual www thing there, but I don't. So, alrighty. Thanks for watching, and tomorrow we're gonna go through my setup, see what I did. All right, man. Take care. Au revoir.